fat of the land, the scuttlebutt. What's going on in the world? In a little coat, fat guy in a little coat. I think that it's crazy that my feet are bigger somehow from being fat or TRT or autoimmunity causing osteoblasts to cause bone growth. Is that a thing? Like, will I get Wolverine claws and have to get an adamantine steel to make them useful? Otherwise, it's just weird bone things coming out of my hand. I put on shoes the other day that I had those little sticky things in the back. If they're too big to help your heel like stay in them, I took them off because I was like, I don't know if these are doing anything, and I was fine. I'm like, I'm not on HCG. Isn't that the thing that makes your organs grow and everything and makes your skull look like Joe Rogan? Like he looked normal when he was younger. But this coat is not this tight, generally speaking. I look like a pear. I mean, this isn't real. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done. A lot of look-smaxing. But this coat, if I were to go, the seam will break in the back. It's Paul Stewart Doskin. I think I talked about this, where I wore this at dinner once in Italy with my dad at the Hassler on top of the Hassler Hotel. And it was so hot, and this American family were complaining. I'm like, I don't blame them, Dad. There's no air conditioning. There's no ice in the water. And I'm wearing this fucking thing. I'm wearing a fucking deer. I'm wearing like a deer carcass in Italy in July. I don't blame the fat Americans. I know how they feel. I didn't have like a tropical blazer. I didn't even know what the fuck that was. It's like this like thin, more viable for that climate. But yeah, here we are. I don't even have a specific thing to talk about. I just wanted to hop on. I did have something I wanted to say, but I don't take notes for any particular reason. I feel like just shooting the shit is the best thing to do. Elliot Page did some boxing videos with her fake abs is kind of disgusting. A lot of transsexuals don't realize the loneliness of the male condition. That's one of the things they like. It's hard enough being a 6'6" male, I mean, let's handsome me up in the something like that, like really no fat jowl, whatever, it's like jacked up, real six-pack abs. It's still hard, still lonely. A lot of work to be done. A lot of those late nights I'm by myself, maybe with my colleague, but we're there's no one cheering us on. No one gives a fuck. And then you're a 5'5" girl and you convert, maybe she's shorter, and you convert into a male. No one pays attention to you. Like no one cares. Like at my gym, there's this transsexual, female to male with this female voice. I'm like, ugh, it's so fucking perverted. It makes me uncomfortable when I see like a black gay weird like androgynous with the long nails giving me a cappuccino at this one place. I'm like, oh, I don't like this. It's not prejudice. I understand it. It's mental illness, or it's some sort of a transgression against something. Yes, there's transgression in society, transgression against norms, and like in a larger sense. But in their world, it's like my dad wasn't there, or something happened to them when they were kids. It's like making themselves feel like be special and be recognized, but it's like then you're recognized amongst other freaks, and that's how you're celebrated. And there's this delusion that society is supposed, like, I'm supposed to be like, I love your nails. Ew. This like black guy with a beard with nails, but also is trying to be feminine. Like, ew. No, it's so gross. No, thank you. Like, this is weird. It's also very solipsistic. It's very narcissistic. It's very about you, but no concept of how you impact the world and ruin my cappuccino. Like, it's also the work, like the superficiality of like doing that for what? Like, what do you like? How does that make you happy? How do you think that looks good? You're like a 6'3" black guy that's 300 pounds, and has a beard and nails and eyeshadow. And I'm like, what is that for? Who's attracted to that? What is that? I'm not trying to present myself over the top. I'm heavy right now. My face looks like blah, no chisel whatsoever. I'm fully aware of the double chin. Yes, my jacket's about to rip at the seams. Yes, I'm aware of how ridiculous, and I'm on TRT. I'm aware of how ridiculous I am. Yes, I have health problems. Yes, probably mental too, but definitely the autoimmune disorder, which also manifests itself as neuroinflammation. So, but I'm talking about maybe like crazy mental illness. Maybe part of it's hereditary. My dad was probably a narcissist. My mom was definitely bipolar or something. So I'm kind of a mutt in that regard. But again, I have a lot going on, but I'm not, I'm just being respectful by wearing a jacket on the show, trying to show some self-respect and give you some respect back for whoever the fuck's watching. I'm trying to be in society, put myself out there in the best way I can. But like the effectual thing of like, I'm going to take the affects of a woman and like not do anything else. Like, I'm not going to lose weight. I'm trying. I'm not going to like try to be presentable. Like, I'm just gonna be this obese black blob that manifests these superficial characteristics of like femininity. There's also this bizarre hypersexual thing, which is this simulacrum that being a woman is like a sexual objectification, which is the opposite of what the entire women's progressive lib movement did from the 1970s onward. The Andrea Dworkins of the world and others who would say like being a woman is not long hair and tits, although I may disagree. They maintain and successfully place into society at the collegiate level the intelligentsia of like the New York crowd, the glitterati, that femininity is beyond the superficial. It was a success for women joining the workforce, being able to get credit cards, work on juries. Like that was the last one, like in the 1980. Wonderful, great, okay. 1929 all the way to then, lot of stuff done. 1968 Equal Rights Act, wonderful, great. And then you have this regression for the sake of progress. Like, you can be anything you want to be, including a woman. And we have to pretend that it's real. And we have to, if we want to appease the dysphoria, the clinical therapy for that is like superficial traits that the female, populace and their, progenitors, their advocates, their politicians have pushed to kind of like subdue as being kind of too sexual, too superficial, too materialistic, too much of a male-coded like gaze of what a woman is. And yet transsexuals have literally, as men, adopted that and said, no, being a woman is just a costume. And women just have to put up with it. And I think I feel bad for women. The female poker player who came in second, I love that Chin. What's her name? Selena Chin something. Won. Great for her. I think she's won more than one bracelet. This is the Women's World Series of Poker. The purse is not that much, like $172,000. But I'm so glad the transsexual didn't win. Now, why do the women and women have different, like why is there a female chess group and a male chess group? Aside from the skewed IQ thing, I don't think chess is necessarily in that direction. As you're a genius, the smarter you are, the better chess player you are. I don't think it's entirely that. I think there's an endurance level. I think there's like definitely like testosterone gives you some benefit. There's something to that. I think there's an aggression or a disposition management system when it comes to bluff scheduling that women might be at a disadvantage in terms of their kind of like variance of play. So if you keep them amongst themselves, like the aggression, right? So, and it's ironic because like a transsexual bet and bluffed, and she called with like basically nothing. There was one awesome hand and like a high card, but she just thought that the transsexual was being overly aggressive. Like the aggression based off the cards and like the pre-flop action didn't make a lot of sense. So the female outdid the male. And it was to the male's detriment having that like aggressive stance. But I think the endurance of those things, like it is hard to play the World Series. Phil Hellmuth talks about how for older poker players, you're playing like, what did he say, 17 hours a day? Or maybe it's not that much, 12, 15 hours a day, every day for 2 weeks. It's a lot. If you're in your 50s, I can only imagine. So maybe that's part of it. But chess is the same thing. I think there is an endurance, classical chess, exhausting. I can imagine there's definitely some advantage to, we are different. There's diversity. That this is something that, and also there's like a thin or a strong line in the sand that you can't just be whatever you want to be when it comes to those things. You can be a doctor. Maybe you're not going to be a great doctor, but you can be a doctor. You can be anything you want. You can make mistakes and you can keep going, right? You can learn from them. But when you define what something is that isn't biologically sound, and then you like a redefinition, a Derrida, a logocentric version of something, like the sky is blue, the color of water is blue, therefore blue has no meaning. Like it's irrelevant. Like blue as a color is like ambiguous. So, male, female, it's kind of like along this line of just like blurring everything, which is very chaotic. It's the definition of an entropic system in the humanities. It's no way to live. Okay. Interactive Brokers, British person telling you that you have a bad internet connection. We're coming up on 2:30. Just look at the markets real quickly. There's been a lot of size in fresh networks. There's been some big sizes. Snap at this level is getting a lot of play. It's not from the specs. It's not from those glasses. That's for sure. Those are the most hideous things I've ever seen in my entire life. Someone mentioned on Twitter that they don't wear their Vision Pro Apple glasses. So like they haven't worn them in like months. And those are like $2,000 and arguably a better product. There's no way in hell that anyone is going to buy Evan Spiegel's Snapchat glasses. And people talk about this in general. This is a warning sign for being successful and rich and hiring yes people that blow smoke up your ass. Evan and Miranda Kerr both signed a check for $550 million to Cancer Research Center or something earlier this week in California. I think so. The fact that they can do that is wonderful. But the innovations at Snapchat, as an activist investor myself, I find that the user growth is incredible considering how old Snapchat is. 800 to 1 billion monthly active users, depending on how you define the term. That's a lot of data. And if the moat in the AI verse of software is data, and those are young people too, which are the next group of voters, the next, women in the household that make 88% of the consumer decisions, like, wives and living girlfriends. That's why on like car commercials, they disparage men. People, you might not notice that, but like, why are the men in the car commercials like seemingly retarded? Not the Porsche commercials, but like the Toyota Sienna minivan commercials. The guy, like the woman knows best because the woman is the one making decisions in the household, and that product specifically is designed for women to like, that's what I want for my kids. There's also this disgusting thing that women do, I will say, psychologically, and I know this outside of marketing. Women like to think in a group that men are retarded. Women like to think that men are incompetent. And when women refer to men's incompetence, they refer to like the toilet seat being up, cabinets in the kitchen being open. I can't see in there. It's much more efficient. I can see what's in there now. If they're closed, they're not see-through. There's no glass. Now I know. They hate that. What else? Dirty dishes in the dishwasher. We didn't like start it. Dishes in the sink. Clothes on the floor in the laundry room. What else? Oh yeah, just these things women think are really important because to them in their like weird nesting sort of way, the most important thing a woman can do, ironically, they don't talk about this like in terms of like careerism. You're like, we're doctors, we're lawyers, we're amazing, we're kicking ass, we're boss bitches. But really, you seem to be so obsessed with like the kitchen sink and kitchen cabinets. It's almost like you're supposed to just be in there all the time. You know, like the criticism of you with men come from women-dominated spaces or spaces in the house that you feel are being disrespected. What intrinsic sense of like ownership of the kitchen could possibly be there unless it's real that you should be in the kitchen using it more than men? And it's like a male not opening or closing the kitchen cabinets, he's encroaching on your territory, so you should feel offended. Now take that thought to its most logical conclusion. Talk to HR about quitting your job as a product manager or project manager and get in the kitchen and make me a fucking sandwich. I want the bread toasted. I don't want a panini press. I want the bread toasted. I want the differential between the crispy bread and the stuff in the middle, like the warm cheese and the turkey or the roasted chicken. And I want the crunchy lettuce to accent the texture varieties of the sandwich. Okay? And what do we want as a side? I want, sour cream and onion potato chips. Yeah. Maybe some hummus and some pita chips. Not every day. I don't want the same thing every day. I get sick of things. Doesn't mean I don't like it anymore. So some variety. That's what a woman should be doing. Thinking about like the sandwich schedule, like someone who does meal prep, but they make it fresh for me when I want it. It's not in a little Tupperware box. They're thinking about what I might want that day and all the possible ingredients that's necessary to, facilitate that sandwich. It's back there. That's what a woman should be worried about. And like, that's what should be important. I know some like very smart girls that went to very good schools whose husbands are also smart, but they're like equal in terms of like bringing home the bacon. And then there's these like chores to do around the house. And it's like this very awkward, like both work and it's like the guy comes home and she comes home and there's like cleaning to be done. It's just not in the men's disposition to do shit. Like, it's so awful for us. Like, imagine working 14 hours, coming home, and like you have to do the dishes and like, I don't know, like cook. Ew. Like, how is that winning for the family dynamic? How is that winning for anyone? Do you think that like that those shared responsibilities just suck? And the fact that you have to have a 2-income household is not winning or not progress, it's regress. That the reason there's so many of these divorces and women like single in their 40s after being with someone is because of this like wealth disparity where people feel, I don't know, like the man's not making enough for her not to work, or the quality of life that she wants, she goes back to work, or she felt and was told early on, she took this career track of going to St. George's, then to Harvard, then to Harvard Business School, and thought that was correct for her. And yet she's getting a divorce, she hates men, and she's lonely in her 40s. And the only place she finds solace now is Pilates, is her friends at work, like girlfriends, and kind of just bitter and like sharing bitterness amongst a group of witches. That's what they like and affirm each other's psychosis, that the reason they're unhappy despite all their success in terms of their curriculum vitae is male driven, and men have killed them. Men have destroyed their life somehow. Again, as good as it gets with Jack Nicholson. How do you write women so well? Asks the secretary as Jack's getting on the elevator. He's like, I think of a man, and I took away reason and accountability. That is correct. That is correct. It took me a long time to understand this. You have to have a lot of girlfriends, and because you're like hoping, okay, there's a sample size. Maybe you need to get to at least 30 girlfriends. Relationships, not sleeping with people, relationships to you realize, no, they're all the same. They don't think. They don't have any real wants. They adopt your likes. Everything's a trick to get a man to like them. And as soon as you're married, then all these rules come into play. There's control. They actually, all the money and power you have is like neutralized by the fact they can divorce you at any time. You know? Even the prenup's worse because it's foreshadowing that. Because like there's like going to be some sort of incentive structure. Like indentured servitude up to a certain point before they're free and they get some sort of per diem. Because they're going to negotiate that. And you kind of realize before the marriage is even finalized, oh my God, this is just a life contract. My goal is just I'm just a bank. That's what I am. I'm a bank. And I'm so gay. I'm so retarded that my penis is controlling my retirement plan based off of my dating these women that only date me because of the money and the security thing. My penis is ruining my future of playing tennis and, you know, Vietnam, Thailand, living in Romania like Andrew Tate and smashing 20-year-olds. It's destroying that future because I am some woman tricked me into thinking if you want this, you have to pay this. I'm like, no, that's not true actually. It's not true. I can do that forever. There's really no real good reason for men to get married. I know that the illusion of getting married is beneficial for business. Shut the fuck up. Let me turn this down. Like, people trust you if you're married. They think, oh, he's not a homosexual. He's trustworthy somehow. Like, you have responsibilities, so there must be like, you're not gonna like just steal someone's money. So you have kids to feed and like a mortgage to pay and a wife to buy diamonds for over and over again. There is that. Like, politically, there's like two things you can be as a Republican candidate. You can be an openly gay homosexual, or you have a family. It's a trust thing. So there's that. That's the benefit. Loneliness, I guess, you know, that's part of it. There is like, you don't like, it's not all about money and like driving a Porsche and fucking random girls. I mean, I will say that's also a thing. You don't keep taking the same like random bitches to like, and they're good looking, they're tall, they're attractive, you know, they're like C-list models in New York City. There's a lot of them. And you take them to like brushstroke for sushi and stuff like that. You eventually just get sick of like, hey, I'm taking these girls to these restaurants and I'm like, none of them mean anything to me. Then I go to my place, like a 3-bedroom, and one of them's my office. I take phone calls. I've made a few million. I'm an underachiever, but like, my life's about getting to $20-30 million, and then you wonder, well, then what? You know, have you built a product? How about your legacy? And I believe there are these women like that are like ride or die bitches that are great partners, but most men find the other one that like tricks them. Like my friend right now who thinks his wife's dealing with like some extreme form of postpartum depression. No, she was crazy before that. I warned him. And crazy shit. Like she wanted him to buy the house next door to the house that he just bought, put her name on the deed. So she got $800,000 free ride in equity right off the bat. Through like $2.6 million house. He put down $800,000. That's not part of the prenup. She instantly gets 400 G's. Okay. And he wants him to buy the house next door so that her parents can take care of the kid while they go on date nights. What? And, his parents aren't allowed at the house because they have germs. What? Oh, and his friends can't visit the baby at the house because they might molest the baby. What? That's this person's logic. I'm not kidding. And there's also no merit in those things. It's not like, he has a bunch of freaks. Like, I'm a freak. I molest babies. He doesn't want me. No, not me specifically. And no, that's not a thing that I do or would do. It's just a ridiculous, like, delusion that she has that probably resulted from her fucked up childhood. And her parents, by the way, are all for this. When they had a fight once, they removed all the furniture he just bought. Like they dragged it out of the house into the front lawn. When she was like with the baby, like the first month after, the pregnant, giving birth, someone said, "Oh, you've lost some of the baby weight already," and she took that as meaning she's still fat, and she forbid for like a year from anyone, the parents coming to see the baby. I think that resulted in now all these like reasons. Your parents can't come, your friends can't come, they might call me fat. But if she comes up with this excuse, they might molest the baby. I don't know what she's thinking. I haven't psychoanalyzed her. I know she's batshit. I know she was an artist that made $30,000 despite working at fucking offering her art, or having the privilege of Art Basel showing her shit there. She was also the Venice Biennale, $30,000 last year. That's what she made. My friend getting up in the middle of the night to take care of the baby. He's the one with the money, and she's like, "Well, it's because I don't want the sleep deprivation to affect my art." Holy shit, are you whipped? Holy shit. I'm not kidding. This is not something I just made up for you for entertainment purposes. I know it sounds good. It's real. It's very real. And I had an intervention with her on the phone with him when they were fighting. They wanted me to like have a talk, and I kind of like, not laid into her, but I just like kind of criticized her, and she started yelling at me, and then she asked so-and-so to take her side, and he did. And he's the one that asked me to be on the phone and say, please help me with my crazy wife. So I was like, fuck this, I'm staying out of it. But yeah, a lot of people are like that. They make all the money, they find this girl, and she controls their life. And I'm like, what is this, dude? Like, it's because I think it's social terraforming. I think it's the romantic comedies. I think it's like something. And it's also now we watch it, just single people. And now I was on my way, and then something tragic happened. I was on my way to, this unbelievable person whose picture is still on my desk, but they passed away. I get it. They're love, real, there's great people out there. Maybe that's too heavy as like a side note, considering I'm on this train track right now, and that was like a little, wait, what? So let's put that aside. Tough, happened a minute ago. But there are a lot of people like that just, for whatever reason, they don't have any understanding that they have the power, or they think that the ultimate thing, and Nick Fuentes talks about this, is having a girlfriend. And I'm like, it was for me at one point, I understand this. But if you're going through what my friend's going through, why don't you just divorce and try again and learn your lesson? And for him, it's like everything's like a business deal. It's like, if I divorce, I'm admitting failure. That's what he's thinking. It's like, no, it's not your fault that she's crazy. You don't have to like be miserable because it's not your fault. Like, she tricked you, or she's crazy, or you found out later that it doesn't work. That's what cohabitation does. Now they did live together before the marriage. I am shocked that this has gotten so bad. I almost feel like once the marriage happened, she just had all this power, and she sprung out the crazy, like one of those boxes where you turn it. It's like she is like the leverage now, right? Even with a prenup, even with there's the baby involved now. There's gonna be some probably alimony involved. Like, the longer he waits to divorce her, and people need to cut, it's a sunken cost provision of things. Like with a company, oh, you put all this money into this project, it's not making money, it's losing you money. Cut. I have a huge trade on right now. I've thought about it in my head because it's on margin. If it would really go the other way, like 25% the other direction, do I cut ties? And I've kind of decided in my way, and this is a hypocritical stance, I'm just going to go down with the ship because I'm so certain that I'm right, but the variance leading up to the binary event that would cause it to skyrocket, why would I sell before that? And once that happens, kind of like if it does, there's kind of a time decay of the stock, the equity, almost like an option up until then. But I can't see a reason to be scared given the upside. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But when I say binary event, I'm like, it sounds like a biotech thing. It's not. It's more of like a recapitalization. And I have to say, going down with the ship was something you've put tens of thousands of hours. That's a lot. Over 10,000 hours into. That's accurate. Like years of research. It's a 5 to 7 bagger. 80% compounding no return at this point, probably. You gotta like roll with that, man. That's maybe I'm not meant to manage money. But we're gonna find out. But maybe I am. Maybe I'm fucking right. Yeah, I sold Intel at 40. Oopsie daisies. But I bought it at 25. I bought it at 21. I had rode it all the way up. Not terrible. I'm not Leopold Abrenin in there or whatever the fuck. But, like I see what's happening in the world. I have an anachronistic position of like elder year, which is basically, again, balance sheet differentials, stock pay down, spin-offs. It's kind of one of those plays. Repatriation of capital back into the company. Reworking of the company, basically. Debt paid off, bondholders appeased. I don't know, but I could be wrong. But I've come to terms with that. When it comes to a woman, it's, I'll say, nothing lasts in this life. You marry someone that's amazing, that like was with you when you're poor, has helped you make money. You felt like you wanted to quit. They said, no, keep going. You were working late nights. You weren't there. You said you needed space to work on the project. They didn't even like make you feel guilt. They're like, of course, like anything I can do, like I'll see you next month or what, like that type of time. They liked you for you. And then they die. Suddenly. Does that mean that that's a failure? No, because nothing lasts. Maybe I had 30 years with them. We start a family and I die of cancer. I get hit by a bus, nothing lasts. The biggest thing I know about this world is like we're all afraid of things that don't matter that much. We're afraid of the IRS. We're afraid of like making a mistake. We're afraid of X, Y, and Z. As long as you don't hurt people and you try your best, I think you'll be okay. And sometimes, someone like Martin Shkreli, he's trying his best, things aren't working, and maybe he has to fib a little bit to get through. Yeah, it sucks. But in the end, all his investors made money. In the end, the IRS is going to, ask you to pay some money. As long as you're not like hiding a bunch of money you owe them, which is stupid. If you owe some money, if you lose, money for an investor, it's okay. We all die, It's a hell of a ride, man. It's a hell of a ride. This is what it is. The relationships we have with people, the money, the fun, it's temporary. Almost like it's supposed to be. And like there's little different flavors of life, like youth, middle age, closer to that. Then like realizing that you're getting older, health is important. Everyone, you get to take, as you get older, the reoxygen species, just can't carcinogens that you're exposed to, just free radical. Things happen to you. Your foot starts hurting for no reason, falling apart like mine did the other day. Health's important. I have an autoimmune disorder. I didn't even know. I thought that was just like being a woman. I thought it was like women are just tired all the time. I didn't know that was like a thing. And now I know all about it. I have patents, for like a condition for lymphatic dysfunction due to autoimmune disease. And I battle stuff every day that people don't even know about. It's like within myself. But we have to just be grateful, I had a friend who had no money, was on the verge of being like had no money, like he had like $100,000 to his name. Okay. No income. And he made $3 million at the end of the year. Huge risks. And he started a business, and now he's, doing great. But he was like facing the abyss, and he just didn't quit. It's pretty good. You gotta be smart. You can't be completely retarded, but just don't quit. Make mistakes, own them, recognize what you did, fix it, don't do it again, learn from it, and keep going. All right.